I read an article this morning.
Oh, wow.
No, forgive me. I did not read an article this morning. I saw a headline on Twitter. There's a difference there.
Those are, let's, some of our...
Tomato.
But
this is kind of like some of the people who comment on our videos. It's they didn't watch our video; they saw the thumbnail.
Right. Yeah. They listened to a little second. Okay. So I did after the fact. I did go and read an article. This one is from Yahoo News. Jeff Bezos, who is the owner, or he's the CEO. I think he's the CEO, owner, CEO, whatever, founder of Amazon, and he is a billionaire. Jeff Bezos is getting sued by one of his former housekeepers. He's getting sued for several things, ultimately worker abuse. Okay, so one of his former housekeepers alleges that employees were forced to work extended shifts for as long as 14 hours without breaks, and there was no reasonable, accessible bathroom for the housekeepers. In fact, in the news article, they report that to use the restroom, housekeepers would have to climb out of the laundry room window. They'd have to they'd climb out the laundry room window to the outside, then run along the path to the mechanical room, through the mechanical room, and downstairs to a bathroom. This toilet was used by both men and women, for example, ground staff used it as well. At one point, housekeepers were told to use the bathroom attached to a security room where security guards monitored cameras on the property, but guards denied them access because it was decided that housekeepers using the bathroom was a breach of security protocol. As a result of inadequate access, the suit says housekeepers frequently developed UTIs. So there are other allegations about worker abuse against the housekeepers, including allegations of racism as well. So I saw the headline this morning that he's getting sued because of the whole bathroom thing, and then while I listened to Pastor Jeff's sermon this morning, and that got me thinking too, because at this point I hadn't decided to talk about this for a topic until I was listening to Pastor Jeff's sermon, and he was talking about Mark. We were in Mark chapter 10, at least I think we're in Mark chapter 10, maybe unless he used the Matthew 22 passage, I cannot recall. But James and John are talking to Jesus, and they ask Jesus that one of us may sit at your right hand and the other at your left in your glory. And then Jesus is like, can you drink the cup I will drink, or be baptized with the baptism I will undergo? Meaning, are you willing to suffer for me? And then they said, like, yes, we can. And then he says, you will drink the cup that I drink, and you'll be baptized with the baptism that I undergo. But to sit at my right or left is not mine to grant. These seats belong to those for whom they have been prepared. And then he goes on. He says, you know that those regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their superiors exercise authority over them. But it shall not be this way among you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be the slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom. So I was thinking about the headline I read and the article I would later read. And it seems to me that Jeff Bezos, I don't know everything about Jeff Bezos, but there are certainly a lot of, he's been in a few scandals, especially revolving around workers' abuse. You hear the stories about Amazon warehouses and how they're supposed to stand up forever and never take bathroom breaks. You hear about this. It seems to me that perhaps Jeff Bezos got successful by walking over people, by abusing people. So I have two questions. The first question I want to ask is, why do the wicked prosper? Or why does God allow the wicked to prosper? Or why is it that wicked people seem to prosper? And this is something we even see in the Bible. The Bible, oftentimes, like in the Psalms or the Proverbs, they lament that it's the wicked who seem to prosper while the righteous are abused or oppressed. So I want to open the floor to that question.
Well, it's interesting because when you say that, that's the first thing that I go to is the lament. I don't remember, I'm sure if I was prepared, I could probably bring out some references that explain this. But if I'm remembering correctly, Scripture mainly laments. It's mainly a question, like why do the wicked prosper while the righteous, don't always. And one of the answers is, of course, the sun and the rain fall on the righteous and the unrighteous, right? Like there's common grace that's given to everybody, and the rest is just the injustice that we face this side of heaven that, we can lean into and sort of help to alleviate that injustice, but only Christ can finish that job. So to me, that just seems like, if you're to ask me that question as you have, I would just say it's a curse of sin. Yeah. And injustice. It's a result of injustice.
So my next question, and by the way, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Right. So like on this side of eternity, there's going to be injustices. We could look forward to, well, in the here and now, we could work to correct those injustices.
Yeah, we can.
I think we're called to do that as Christians. But injustices won't cease until the Lord returns. But we do have the future to look forward to in which there are no injustices, that all the wrongs will be made right. And the righteous will prosper in the new heaven and new earth. My next question, this is an ethics question, I guess. Now Jeff Bezos is a billionaire. And again, did he become a billionaire by just being really smart with money? Or was it because he lorded over other people and walked over other people? My question is, can a Christian ethically become a billionaire?
So I think because, and this is going to sound like a cop-out in some ways, but because Jesus has an answer for this as well. But because all things are possible with God, I believe it's possible. I do. So just imagine a world, right, where Jeff Bezos didn't get rich by lording it over people, that he was really smart. And again, we don't know the details. And I mean, if he thought like a Christian, right? And I know something that you might hear this and you might think this is a pipe dream, but just imagine that all those same workers had their own living quarters, that they had this great quality of life, that they had all the proper breaks, that they had great compensation packages, that like he has this ability to offer the types of jobs and job security, and like this could have been a totally different scenario if he was thinking it as I've got a lot to give. So
but if he did that,
generous.
Would he have become a billionaire?
Well, see, and that would be the question, and I don't know. I think the answer is maybe, because Jesus says, it's harder, for a rich man to enter heaven than to pass through the eye of a needle, which that's actually a direct correspondence to this, something that a camel had to pass through or something. I can't remember the details, but if you look at commentaries surrounding it, it was actually a thing that they had to do, and it was very possible. It was just a very difficult process that they had to do with their livestock. So Jesus doesn't say it's impossible. He just says it's really super duper hard, right? So I don't know, It's a great question. I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess I can't think. Well, I mean, I'm not going to fully defend him because maybe people in the comments would come out like right away. But like Truett Cathy is not a perfect guy, but like, did he become a billionaire or was he just a millionaire?
I don't know.
I'm going to look up his net. Our dad would know the answer to this question.
You got to remember, we're talking about billions of dollars.
I know.
I mean, it's one thing to be a millionaire. It's an entirely different thing to be a billionaire. Like, we can't even comprehend how much money you have once you reach $1 billion.
Yeah, I don't know that. Well,
I think in our current,
Truett Cathy was indeed a billionaire.
He was a billionaire.
I thought
his
so.
his net worth when he went home to be with Jesus was $6.8 billion.
Right, and of course, in every organization, there's going to be issues and stuff like that. But like wind-shaped camps and all the different things that he was able to do, and again, unfortunately, things come out after people have passed away. Ravi Zacharias was a travesty and really sad hear about that. So I'm not going to like put him up there as a shining example, but I think it's a little bit closer to possibility than Jeff Bezos. The idea that you could, but it's rare. Like I literally can't think of anybody else.
He's the only person that comes to mind.
Right,
that, like,
exactly.
People had an overall positive experience, working with, at least that we know of. I mean, you think something would have come out by now, because nowadays that stuff tends to come out quicker
Does Bill
than it
Gates
used
have
to.
any scandals?
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of. He's got a few.
Well, I mean, he's Bill Gates.
Yeah.
That is true. He did put like microchips in us. Or
Oh, yeah.
something.
I was gonna
Anyway.
say he's trying to.
We're just joking. We're just joking.
He's trying to end society. So
Oh, so final question: should Christians desire to be rich?
I desire to be rich.
I mean, I do too.
Should I? Should I?
That's
should
the
I
question.
not?
I definitely do desire to be rich.
Yeah.
But should I desire to be rich?
I don't think it's a should or shouldn't thing. I think it really depends.
Johnny,
on,
you and your nuance. Just give us an answer. Okay.
I don't think that there is a black and white answer to that question.
Of course, there's not a black and white answer to any question.
I think there are some Christians and people who should not desire to be billionaires or rich because of maybe they struggle with covetousness or something, whatever it might be, right? Like that would destroy them, Jesus addresses this in the Gospels of like how if your priorities shift too much, it can literally hinder your access to his kingdom. But that's not true of everybody. So, I don't know. That's a difficult one, but I don't think there's a good answer. I think some people should not desire to be rich because of the state of their soul. And others can desire it without being sinful.
Interesting.